Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the update preview stream. This is Bugs here. I'm joined today by Artemis and Miss D. Say hi, guys.
Hello, everyone.
Hi guys.
So, what do we got going on today? Well, we are 1 week from the big update and forced wipe, and there's a couple cool things going on staging. As always, we're going to go through what you can expect as a player to come in the update next week. Before we get into it, let's real quick cover a couple things. One, if you have any questions as we're going through all this stuff, as always, feel free to do Miss D underscore that's me in chat, and we'll get to as many questions as we have the opportunity to. Also, what's going on with wipes? Well, server wipes for today are the weekly Thursday wipe servers for Rustafied. So that's your mains, your smalls, your Zen Labs, and the like. The servers wipe at regular scheduled time for the region. That's 3 p.m. local time for each region, which means SEA, AU, and EU have already wiped for the day. The US servers will wipe in 2 hours at 3 p.m. EST. That's going to be US main, small, Zen Labs, and I feel like I'm missing one. What am I doing? Maybe I'm not. I don't know. I've still got some brain fog. Bear with me here. Anyway, these are map wipes only. EU wiped 3 hours ago. I do want to quickly apologize for anyone who was impacted by the EU wipes. The EU region, it wasn't even our host in general. It was something going on in that data center in the EU region right around wipe time today. Had connectivity issues. They were resolved within the hour, but it was right at wipe time, like literally the worst fucking time. It impacted not just us, but a bunch of other orgs because it was a big outage. But I do want to apologize if that impacted anyone's wipe negatively in the EU today. It really was poor timing and a pain in the ass. And I'm going to be talking to my host about how that could be avoided potentially in the future. But unfortunately, sometimes just shit like this happens. And quite frankly, as someone who runs infrastructure across the world, I have been noticing the global infrastructure just seems a little less reliable. It seems more spotty in general. I don't know if it's global conflict. I don't know if it's cyber attacks or what, but just have been noticing that like global network infrastructure is kind of shitty recently. Anyway, that's a aside. EU is cleared up and working fine now, but I do apologize if it negatively impacted anybody. Anyway, let's get into it. What is going on? We are 1 week away from the wipe and update. That is, of course, going to be next Thursday, February 1st, expected at 2 p.m. EST, 7 p.m. GMT, normal time. No sign of a forced blueprint wipe, although many Rustified servers and other servers choose to wipe blueprints when the update hits. The exception for Rustified servers are the long threes and medium threes in US and EU. So if you want no blueprint wipes, check out long threes or medium threes in either region. But what is going on staging? Well, it looks like the February update is mainly going to be the backpack update because that's like the pinnacle thing going on here. We got the backpacks. Now, these were in last week. You saw them last week for the first time. And we're seeing some iterations on them this week. First and foremost, on the current build of staging, there are some visual glitches with some of the backpacks and when we're going into debug. So if you see stuff stretching across the screen or acting real weird, that's just a known visual issue with the current build of staging that we are on. Either way, there are two backpacks, the small and the large. And what we're seeing this week as far as changes to those backpacks go, well, we do have a model for the large backpack now. It is a larger model. I believe it's the model that was just on the ground before to pick up things, which makes sense. Also, the backpack slots have shifted. Small is still 12 slots, but the large backpack is no longer 30 slots. It appears to be 28 slots at the moment. And also, we're seeing some new stuff with the UI, as you can see here. It's like got this cool animation where it moves the character over, spins them around, and then you can see the backpack slots here all the way to the left. And I know some people were saying, oh, the backpack slots should be above the inventory, but that doesn't really work because when you click on an item, the item details are up there. And you might say, oh, the backpack slots should be where the loot boxes are on the right, but then you can't do things with boxes and backpacks, you know what I mean? So that's really the place for it to go, kind of. They played with doing tabs, but then you couldn't hover loot. So that's the UI for the backpacks as it stands now. And yeah, that's what we're looking at. Also, they have done some initial despawn times. So if a empty backpack is dropped on the ground, if it's a small backpack, it'll despawn in 20 minutes. If it's a large backpack, it will despawn in 40 minutes. However, if they're not empty, the despawn time will be relative based on the items inside and the value of the items inside. And it looks like that'll go up to a max of 2 hour to fully despawn. So if it's got some good items and stuff like that in the backpack, then it won't despawn for about 2 hours. Keep in mind, all this is subject to change, but this is just the rough things that we're seeing now based on the commits this week. And of course, you can pick backpacks up by holding E. That's been increased a little bit. I believe it was half a second before. I think now it's a second and a half. But yeah, that's basically it. You've got backpacks. They allow you to carry more items. You can only hold one backpack at a time. Still not seeing how exactly the large backpacks are going to be gotten or obtained. The small backpack is craftable, but the large backpack is not. So we're going to have to get some more information on exactly where that will be obtained. But this is still, of course, a work in progress, and the devs are going to be pushing out changes and tweaks and everything up until the update next week. And we'll probably see some hot fixes after that update, either way, and some balance changes and stuff like that. So, yeah, don't get too attached to anything in particular, but you can count on us having on Rustafied.com a full write up of everything you as a player need to know about the backpacks for the update next week on our update post. That'll be posted first thing Eastern Time, February 1st, and have a full summary of the update and crafting costs and all that stuff as it's going live in the update. The other small thing with the backpacks this week, last week you might have noticed if you had a gun with a backpack, that gun was still just going flush with the player back and kind of overlapping the backpack. And this week they've added some cool holstering type of dynamics where the guns will either go on the side of the backpack or the back of the backpack. And it just looks better and makes more sense. So, yeah, that's what's going on. Backpacks coming for the February 1st update. Now, also going on, this was an interesting one, and I didn't quite expect it today, but it did get merged in to staging just this morning, and that is the metal detector body of work. So we've just gotten a little bit of testing with these metal detectors. They literally just hit staging a couple hours ago, so it's still very much a work in progress. There's still definitely some glitches and things like that, and this is very much subject to change. But nevertheless, we can give you kind of a brief rundown of what we're seeing with the metal detectors, how they function, what they provide you, and all that stuff. So here's the rundown. The metal detector does function as you would expect a metal detector to. It's a default blueprint, so it looks like you can get it pretty easily. It's 200 wood and 2 rope to craft, so pretty cheap to craft. The other thing that comes with this is a shovel, which is also a default blueprint, 50 wood and 75 frags to craft. But the idea is you craft a metal detector and a shovel, you bust out or equip the metal detector, and you can start walking around just willy nilly with the metal detector out, and it will start beeping at you as you get to stuff under the ground. Basically, as you would expect, it's detecting metal objects just that are shallow, buried under the ground type of thing. And these objects aren't everywhere, so you might not always hear a beep. But as you walk around, you'll start hearing a beep. And if you look at the metal detector, there are two columns of LED lights. The left column starts going up when the metal detector is just out and about. And so you can use that to kind of, that and the beeps to kind of max out and figure out where in the realm or vicinity the stuff is underground. And then what you can do is hold right click, and that will start sweeping the metal detector like back and forth, and that will start upping the right column of LEDs. And you can use that right column of LEDs then to pinpoint exactly where the underground loot is. Now, once you find the underground loot, as in you max out that right LED bar, and you hold it there for a little bit, basically what will happen is initially there'll be like a very small blue building guide for like a flag and yeah, you can see it right there. And then after that blue guide is there for a second, it just becomes an actual like little stick with a flag. And that's where you're basically to dig. Now, there's no real digging yet. There's not like with a shovel, there's no digging animation yet. You kind of just whack the shovel at the flag at the moment. I imagine this might change. But you see that flag, you take the shovel out, you whack at it a couple times, and out will pop the loot that you just found. We're generally seeing that it's either cans of beans or tuna or a metal frag or two. And yeah, and then of course everyone's wondering, will this find stashes, hidden stashes buried underground? Based on our initial testing, no, we are not seeing it find underground stashes. Now, that being said, the stashes are acting a little weird for us when you bury a stash now and you walk up to it. The stash is just like coming out of the ground when you walk near it if you buried it. So I'm not sure if that's indicative of them changing something with the stashes and the metal detector will actually detect underground stashes or not. We'll have to see with that one. This looks like it may still be something in process. And also, maybe it'll just detect stashes if there are. Holy shit, did you just find an
I,
assault rifle underground?
I did. Did you see
What
that?
the fuck? You just found an assault rifle?
I
Holy
just.
shit, I'm thinking you can only.
What
I'm
the
thinking
hell?
you can only find like cans of
What
beans.
the
And in the
hell?
back of my head,
Ooh,
I'm like, there's no way in hell people are going to be using this
streamily.
shit to find just like cans of beans. But then you find a fucking AK under the ground?
Well, there we go.
Okay.
There we
That's
go.
Well,
crazy.
it might be worth it to use a metal detector. Now, keep in mind, all this is subject to
Yeah,
change. So I'm back here. Now, the unsaid in the back of my head is like, man, no one's gonna use this shit if you can just
literally.
like find some fucking beans
Was that
and like
one
and
metal
metal
frag?
frag, like one metal frag or a can of beans. It's like, forget about it. No one's gonna use this shit. And then up pops an AK. Okay, maybe we'll use this. I don't know. Yeah, prove me wrong, face punch. Prove me wrong. So, now I did hear something online about apparently this is going to get nerfed a little bit. So I imagine the loot might be nerfed. I don't know if you're going to be like digging up C4 out of the ground or AKs. But yeah, you can get one metal frag, a bean can, or an AK. We'll see.
Maybe
Um,
rockets too.
yeah, maybe some
Sometimes.
rockets. I don't know. But you can see that's the general uh, flow of how it works. It's not the easiest thing to pinpoint these things, to be honest with you. It can take a little while. Once you hear that first beep, it can take 30 seconds to a minute to kind of, and I imagine people get better at it as you go, but I was just trying with it, and it's like not the easiest thing to pinpoint this. It's not like you can
No,
do
it's
it in
not.
2 seconds. It takes a little like looking back and forth and everything like that. So yeah, this is the metal detector and the shovel body of work. Once again, it's not finding hidden stashes at the moment. We're not sure if it will or it won't. Uh, Also, the loot you're going to find under the ground seems to be up in the air because I was under the impression until just a second ago it was literally just cans of beans and metal frags. But apparently, you can at the moment find AKs under the ground too. So that's interesting. But yeah, that's the metal detector. Once again, 200 wood, 2 rope to craft a metal detector. So default blueprint, pretty easy to craft. Not sure if that's going to change. Shovel as well is default, 50 wood, 75 metal frags to craft. And it looks like I was originally thinking the metal detectors won't come in till March. And I could have sworn I saw one of the QA guys on Twitter, I think it was Shelby, mentioning that it probably won't come out till March. But then we just saw it get merged into staging today. So maybe we will see this come in for the February update as well. Maybe we'll have backpacks and metal detectors. And hey, you can go out metal detecting, finding swag, and then you'll have more space to carry it because you got your trusty new backpack. So that is what is going on with that. Keep in mind, all is subject to change. Now, also going on in Rust development, The compound redesign is well underway. This, as you might have recalled from the first dev blog of the year, is part of a larger body of work where they're going to go back through the existing monuments and retool them, redesign some of them, and improve on some of them. And it does appear that Compound is first up to bat with regards to that redesign. I don't think we're going to see anything in February by any means with the Compound redesign. Maybe March, maybe beyond. Redesigning monuments and all this monument work, they're all hand built and custom built, and every little detail is something that someone actually has to place there and design and all that stuff. So it's all to say the monument stuff can take several months to or longer to get to a point where it's production ready. So I wouldn't hold your breath for this compound redesign stuff. Nevertheless, we'll keep you posted as more comes to light with it. It looks like there's going to be some cool like rope bridges, a new helipad, a city hall building, and some other potentially cool things. So we'll keep you posted. They are also doing some miscellaneous quality of life, and I do expect this stuff to go in for the update next week. So it's going to be probably a backpack update and some quality of life slash fixes going in with that update as well. What we're seeing in the quality of life realm is preventing launch site SAM sites from shooting down MLRS rockets. So that's cool. Also, the EOCA is more likely to shoot after every failed strike. So if you get a failed strike with the EOCA, you're going to have a much better chance of having it work right after that. They did some fixing of artifacts in the reticle crosshair texture. Ladder hatches no longer require ladders to repair. That's nice. They also, this is a cool one, increased all plants' ripe stage duration from 4 hours to 14 hours. So when a plant gets ripe, you're going to have much more time to a much greater window to actually pick it while it's ripe. So that's kind of cool. There's also a warning pop up when logging out in a safe zone. It looks like that's going to come in just to warn people not to log out in safe zones. And embrasures and shutters are also now going to be rotatable with R when being deployed, which is a nice little quality of life thing as well. Now, they're also, of course, working on some various other projects and things that are not quite on staging yet and probably not going to come in for the update next week. But there is work on a new truck model. It's an American truck, a M939, which, of course, I promptly Googled to see. It's like a military transport truck with, what is it, 6 wheels, 3 axles. So, like, kind of a heavy duty military transfer. Not sure if this is going to be like a ground version of the scrap heli, or if this is just some like props for an upcoming monument or the compound redesign. I feel like it is the latter, though. I feel like this is going to be a new, like high end ground vehicle that can transport a number of people. So we'll keep you posted on that. They've also updated unused mining quarry deployable. This is just for modding stuff. So modding modded servers and things like that will be able to use the mining quarry deployable, but it's not expected to come back in vanilla anytime soon. They're doing a number of industrial improvements. This is something as a server owner that's been kind of a pain point for the past month or so is servers will bomb out at certain points of the industrial pipeline. For whatever reason, the worker entities just get bombed out and lag out the server. So we're seeing improvements on the industrial system and hopefully not only fixing that, but various other, you know, tweaks and things and improvements for industrial. I do think some of that will come in for the update next week, but I imagine it's not going to really impact anything on the player end or the front end that's going to be noticeable with regards to industrial. I think it's more back end fixed stuff. They're all also working on a Dragon launcher for the Chinese New Year stuff, so we'll probably see that next month, and a couple other item store items celebrating Chinese New Year. We've seen that in previous years. There's more work on an improved skin viewer, so that looks like it's going to be really nice for people who create skins and various other things to be able to see them a lot better than currently in game. There's also just a little fix for spray cans to make sure they don't reassign the owner ID of entities when reskinning to a direct skin. So that was a little thing that was happening that should be resolved. They're doing more work on Tutorial Island as well. No word when we're going to see that. That's a rather large body of work, but they keep every week kind of pushing forward and doing some more improvements and iterations on the tutorial island. That's going to, of course, help new players to the game kind of get their feet wet. It's going to be like a special server where the player spawns and is on their own private island where they can run through some various NPC driven missions to basically just learn the ropes of the game. Also, there's more work on an improved vendor UI for in-game maps. I think that might come in next week. So the vendor UI might be, you know, overall improved. I think that's especially for clusters of vendors on the in-game map. It's just going to have an overall better UI. I'm excited to see that, but I don't think it's been merged in yet. Also, they've capped the burst module icon size to match other weapon mods, and there's a work on a nightlight. Helk did a commit towards a nightlight. We originally saw that like 2 months ago, maybe more, the first commit towards a nightlight, and it said don't get excited, it's not working as we expect. But we did just see another merge from main on the nightlight branch, so it looks like that is being worked on, and maybe that will be part of what they're working on with regards to what they mentioned in the first dev blog of the year, which was doing some things to help with dark nights. So, and they did kind of say you're still going to need like night vision or flashlights to really roam around, but maybe they'll do just some nice little easy to craft night lights you can just kind of, and maybe even like bioluminescent type of light that you could plop around your base, and then you can at least see around your base easier at night. We'll see. But that's work on some nightlights. And yeah, that's about what we got going on. It is, once again, 1 week from the update. So next week, around this time, plus half hour, is when we expect the update to go live. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be backpacks, maybe even metal detectors, and some miscellaneous quality of life stuff. So, Miss D, we got any questions from the audience?
We have a few, but let's, as always, start with when is whip.
So the whips today are the Thursday weekly wipe servers. So that's your mains, your smalls, and your Zen labs. And they are happening at regular scheduled time for the region for Rustafied servers. So that's 3 p.m. local time for each region. That means EU wiped like 3.5 hours ago. AUSEA wiped like 12, 13 hours ago, and the US servers will wipe in about an hour and a half at 3 p.m. EST. That's going to be US main, US small, and Zen Labs.
I just saw a message coming in saying, Rustafied, love these streams. Thank you so much for keeping up with things, folks.
Thank you for saying that, man. I appreciate the kind words. And yeah, we love doing this every week and really do appreciate you tuning in and your support, because a lot of people tune in and think, hey, these are the developers of the game, or they're paid by Facepunch to do this. And the fact of the matter is neither of those are the case. We are just an independent organization run by fans of the game like you, and we love reporting on development news and running the best servers that we can. And literally the only way we can keep doing that week after week, month after month, year after year is through the support of the community. So to everyone who tunes in and watches, to people who give bits and subscribe on Twitch, and to our wonderful, beautiful, loyal VIP customers, thank you all so much for your support, because we wouldn't be able to do this. Also, as a quick heads up, in that realm of VIP and Rustified and what we're doing, we are well underway on work of the of our new stats system and leaderboard system, and I'm really excited with how that's coming on. We're doing our own thing. We're creating something that's never been seen before. It's going to take a little while to do, but the end result should be something really unique and really awesome. And it should allow you to track all your stats. It should allow you to track what you're doing with your clan and everything like that. And have a bunch of leaderboards, and then we'll have prizes each month for the leaderboards. That's the plan, at least. So I'm really excited about that. I'd love to have it out sooner, but we want it to be done right, and we want it to be really nice. And so that's something that over the next couple months I'll share more with you about, and we'll be really excited to launch an alpha version of that to our VIP customers and then roll out to everyone in the near future. But that's just another thing going on with Rustified.
Can you have a backpack in a backpack?
No backpack inception. So
Can you
only
If it's empty.
Yeah, if it's
Yeah.
empty, you can.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, if it's empty, sorry. Yeah, if it's empty, you can. Now, can you this week carry a backpack, an empty backpack in a backpack
I
item?
just tried.
You
Yeah.
can, yeah.
You can. Okay, cool.
How many
All right,
backpacks
good
can you
stuff.
carry in an empty backpack?
Yeah, it looks like
Full.
28.
Yeah.
But no items in the backpack. So as long as the backpack's empty, you can put whatever you want in it. But if a backpack has items in it, then you can only have one backpack with items in it at a time.
Yeah, it won't go back in your inventory, basically.
Yeah.
Let me see next one. Is the small backpack on the tree, or do you need to find one and bring it to a research station?
The small backpack at the moment is a default blueprint. So you can just craft it. What's the crafting? Like a couple sewing kits and some cloth.
Yeah, 5 sewing kits and 50 cloth.
And then the large backpack you can't craft, and we're not sure where you're going to get it yet.
Let me see next. Can you hold a full backpack? Blah, blah, blah. Can you hold a full backpack in your normal inventory?
No. If a
Oh,
backpack has items in it, it can only exist in your backpack slot.
yeah.
Otherwise, it's just going to drop on the ground. And you can only have one backpack with items in it at a time. Otherwise, it'll just drop the other backpack on the ground, if that makes sense.
Is there any negatives because of wearing a backpack, like a larger hitbox and stuff?
Yeah, I wanted to test out a little bit of the hitboxes, and maybe we can do that now real quick. Like maybe Artemis, you can shoot Miss D with a big backpack just in the
Yeah, of course.
backpack.
As of last week, it didn't change anything, did it? But let's test again this week for sure.
Yeah, let's see if it's new. Anything's new this week.
Just checking here. Can other people hear the beeping when you go with the metal detector?
I believe so, because when I was by Artemis before and you heard that one beep, Artemis, I'm pretty sure I heard that too.
That's it, yeah, I think so.
I saw some people in chat they were a little bit confused about when it's force wipe, what time it wipes. It's like 3 p.m. or 7 p.m., 8 p.m.
Yeah, so to clarify, basically, it really depends on where you are in the world, but there is a pretty set wipe time for force wipes, which is, of course, the first Thursday of every month. So the next one is February 1st, actually, the first day of the month, and it's first Thursday too. But they always occur at 2 p.m. EST. Now, I say that first because I'm over here in the US, and guess what time zone I'm in? EST. So that's 2 p.m. EST or 7 p.m. GMT. But that's when, generally speaking, the update comes out within 10, 15 minutes of that, if anything, a couple minutes before. And then right when that comes out is when everyone wipes the servers and the wipes happen for the forced wipes. So it's not necessarily always exactly at 2 p.m. Eastern, but it's right around there. And lucky for you, we do a stream during that time where we'll let you know as soon as the update comes out so you can be ready to update your Steam library and get in.
Dee, do you want to come down here? And I'll try and see if I can just shoot behind at the backpack. And then if we take the back, I'll just shoot you once. And then if you take the backpack off and stay in the same position, we can just see with the hitbox.
Mm-hmm.
You have God off, right?
Say what?
Do you have God off at the moment?
I'm trying to take it off. I can't. It's
No,
full.
right?
Hold on. Let me empty it. It was
Misty, do
full.
you have God mode on?
Yeah, I just wanted, sorry, if you just take God mode off, I'll just try and shoot you from behind.
Should be off.
All right, and take the backpack off. No,
Oh
I'm sorry.
shit!
Yeah, you got sniped playing
Misclick.
vision. It's all right. We should be able to pretty much gather from here. Hang on.
I can put it on again.
Oh, there we go. I think you can try it again, yeah. And if you want to stand still, but it doesn't look like it affects the hitbox. To be
Yeah,
fair,
it's not looking like it. Yeah, it looks like when you did hit, it
the
was,
same
just
place.
over
Yeah.
the normal body. Yeah.
Give me a sec. Let me take something to heal.
Yeah, no
And
worries.
yeah, for anyone wondering, we're just testing if the backpacks increase your hitbox. It's not looking, maybe we could try with the large backpack, but at the moment it's not looking like it is. And which is interesting because you'd think with a backpack and the ability to carry X amount of extra items, there'd be some sort of downside with that. One of the logical ones that a lot of people mentioned was a slowdown of movement speed. But it looks like the devs aren't doing any slowdown of movement speed with this. And it looks like at the moment it's not increasing your hitbox either. So I dare say there aren't much downsides to carrying a backpack except maybe you look bigger, you look like a bigger target.
That's
But
it. Dee, do you want to put the bigger backpack on, and we can just kill two birds with one stone again?
Yep. Then
Oh, have you put it on? Because I think I've just got
I
that.
did put it on.
Yeah, I've got that. Now I've
Yeah.
got the visual glitch. Perfect timing there. Can't actually see it in the correct place.
Remember, just work in progress still, right?
yeah, that is one issue we've seen
Super
Yeah.
on this build of
unhelpful though.
staging.
Some like
Yeah, it
that.
doesn't really help us. You know what? We'll test the hitboxes next week
Yeah, I think it'll be better.
when the update's going live.
As
At the
far as I've
moment,
seen, yeah, it doesn't affect you whatsoever. Yeah.
yeah. And that's an interesting thought. Heavier footsteps when wearing a backpack. Yeah, it seems like there should be some downside. Although, personally, I freaking hate when things nerf my movement speed. So I'm kind of glad it's not slowing down movement speed because that would piss me off. But
Yeah.
You know
Good job
what's?
this isn't
Hold
actual
on.
visuals.
Yeah. Okay, let me see the questions here. Okay, do you think that detectors should cost more now that you know that you can find AKs and stuff?
yeah, I mean, if we're talking the price of the metal detector being 200 wood and 2 rope that it currently is as a default blueprint, and I don't think even workbench is required. If you can use that tool to pop an AK out of the ground, maybe it should be more expensive. I don't know if you will be able to use that to pop an AK out of the ground, though. Just for the record, all this is subject to change. So most of what we were seeing was cans of beans, cans of tuna, and maybe one metal frag popping out with the metal detector. But then we did have an AK just pop out of nowhere. So
Yeah.
that was a surprise. I'll be honest.
I feel like they should put something on the ground that's worth it, otherwise people's not gonna use it. If it's just like one middle frag and one tuna can, you can go to any monument basically and find chocolate and, tuna cans there.
Yeah, but we'll see. Still a work in progress.
Yeah. Does the metal detector slash shovel work in a safe zone?
Oh, good question. I don't think so, but we can check.
Yeah, I can definitely check. The problem would be we can't necessarily confirm because it depends if there's something buried in a safe zone.
I do, in the meantime, wonder because I see a lot of people asking questions and I can't keep up if you do not add my name because a lot of stuff is typed in the chat. So do add Misty underscore, that's me, so I see them in chat.
Yes, please.
Yes.
I saw a question before about if we get special information from the devs or anything like that to do these articles or streams. And generally speaking, no. I do have communication and contact with the devs, but I tend not to bug them with questions because they're just, trying to work on getting this stuff done. So generally speaking, we just track the commits.facepunch.com, and we load up the staging branch. We test stuff out, and that's where we get the information for our articles each week.
So the answer is yeah. Seems to be working in the safe zone.
Cool.
Do you think the dragon launcher will be its own item or a skin?
I think it's going to be its own item based on the look of it, based on the look of the commits. I feel like it might be just a visual uh, item, probably sold on the item store. Probably doesn't do any damage, just does some visual stuff in the air, like kind of some firework type of stuff, and just for the Chinese New Year event. But I'm not really sure. We've only seen a couple commits with it, so it could really go either way.
I think just do a recap and I just go through the last couple of questions here.
Sounds like a plan. So let's do a little recapity cap. 1 week from the update, we are. So that was a weird way to say that, wasn't it? Talk backwards, I do. Yeah. Yeah, I've been dealing with brain fog and it's apparently turning me into Yoda now. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, we've got February 1st is the update. Forced wipe, no sign of a forced blueprint wipe, although many Rustified servers and other servers do choose to wipe blueprints when the forced map wipe comes along. The exception for Rustified servers being, of course, long threes and medium threes in both EU and US. So if you want a no blueprint wipe thing, then you can check those servers out. But next week, around this time, is when the update's going to come out 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT. It will force a map wipe and it will introduce backpacks. Backpacks are, as you would expect, they allow you to carry more items in your inventory as you go. There's a small and a large backpack. The small carries 12 items. The large carries 28 items as of this week. Last week it was 30. But we've seen some improvements and modifications to backpacks. Mainly the UI has been updated this week. It has a cool little animation sliding the player over and spinning him around so you can see the backpack and all the slots. And you can only carry one backpack with items in it at a time. You can carry multiple empty backpacks if you want to, but the second that backpack has any items in it, you can just carry one of those in the backpack slot. Backpacks can be dropped on the ground. If you die with a backpack, the backpack drops next to your body. Other players can loot the backpack just like a normal loot box. And they can also hold E to pick the backpack up, providing they're not already carrying a backpack with items in it. They've done the initial despawn rates this week, so if there's an empty small backpack on the ground, it's going to be 20 minutes before it despawns. An empty large backpack will be 40 minutes before it despawns. However, when the backpack is no longer empty, that despawn rate will increase and it will be variable up to 2 hours based on the value of the items in the backpack. So basically, if you got good stuff in a backpack that's dropped on the ground, it will be a 2 hour despawn time. They've also, on top of updating the UI for the backpacks, have done some stuff with holstering of the weapons so that the weapons that you're carrying don't go just on the player back and overlap the backpack like last week. Now they're holstering nicely to the side of the backpack or the back of the backpack. And yeah, that's about it. It's going to be backpacks next week. The small backpack is craftable with a couple kits and some cloth. The large backpack is not craftable, and so we're going to have to see where that will be obtained. I don't know if it will be available for purchase or just found in rare loot crates, but we'll keep you posted as more information with that comes to light. We will have all the details for backpacks and more on rustified.com, our update post article, which goes live next Tuesday, first thing, midnight Eastern time. So we'll finalize all this for you and have the information prior to the update going out once it's all nailed down on staging. Also on staging, which just made it in a couple hours ago, is the metal detectors and shovels are now on staging. Now this is an interesting one. Just a couple things. First and foremost, it's an initial like addition to the game. Just hit staging, so if anything was ever subject to change, this would be it. So don't get too caught up in any of the specifics. But basically, what we're seeing is the metal detector works as you would expect. You can craft it pretty easily 200 wood, 2 rope to craft, and it's a default blueprint. You'll also want to craft a shovel because that's a key part of this whole thing. Although I wonder if you can, because the shovel is just whacking the ground. I wonder if you can use other items to whack that thing to bring the thing out of the ground too, or you need a
Yeah,
shovel.
sure. I'll try it. I'll try and find another one now.
Because yeah, the whacking motion is not a digging motion; it's a whacking motion. It makes me think maybe you could just use a pick or something too. Anyway, you get a metal detector. You start going out around Rust. around, explore the plains of Rust, and you'll eventually start hearing a beep. And then also you'll notice that the metal detector has two rows of LEDs, two columns of LEDs, I should say. And the left column of LEDs will start going up when you start hearing beeps. And then once that column is full up and you're hearing more and more beeps, you want to hold right click and that will start sweeping the metal detector back and forth on the ground. And then the right column of LEDs will start lighting up. And once you find how to get that right column of LEDs all the way maxed out, then basically this little, it's basically like a stick with a flag appears in the ground. It appears first as a building guide, kind of a small building guide, but it's that blue kind of building guide thing. And then after a second, that blue building guide turns into just an actual stick and a flag on the ground. And that's like your demarcation of where to dig, so to speak. Now, at the moment you're not digging, you bust out your shovel and you just kind of whack it at the ground, and out pops whatever it is you can find. Now, what we were generally finding is just cans of beans, cans of tuna, and maybe a metal frag or two. But we also did live on stream just before find an AK. Just literally an AK popped out of the ground. So keep in mind, all subject to change, but it looks like there is some opportunity for some better loot than just a metal frag, which I think is cool because let's be honest, if this thing just found you cans of beans and a metal frag, would anyone freaking use it? I don't think so, even if it is cheap to craft. But if you can find some better stuff in certain instances, then that would maybe make it worth it. But you can see that stick with the flag there, and that'll just stay there until you whack at it or dig. We'll see if you can whack at it with other things or if you in fact need the shovel. But
No, it seems that you need the shovel.
yeah, you need the shovel. Okay, cool. So yeah, so you'll want to craft that shovel for 50 wood, 75 frags, and default blueprint as well. And then you whack the shovel at it, and you get, what is it, 3 whacks, and then you can see what you get, which, once again, very often is a can of tuna, but it was that one time an AK. So we'll see. But that's the basics of how the metal detector worked. Now I know I can hear you all thinking, what about hidden stashes? Can you find hidden stashes with it? At the moment, it's not finding hidden stashes. That's not to say it won't when it goes live, because in fact, we are seeing some weird behavior with the hidden stashes on staging right now. And that leads me to think maybe they are tweaking the code of the hidden stashes such that it can be found by the metal detectors. Not sure either way, but we'll keep you posted and should have some more final answers for you for next week, right before the update goes live. But as of right now, it doesn't look like hidden stashes are getting detected by the metal detector. It's just this kind of new type of loot that is randomly appearing around the ground. And yeah, generally speaking, you get cans of beans or a couple metal frags, if that. So yeah, we'll keep you posted as more comes to light on that. They're also working on a compound redesign. This is part of the whole monument redesign body of work they discussed in the first dev blog of the year. I don't expect anything with the compound redesign to come for next week. It's still very much in process, not available on staging, no visuals or anything yet. So we'll keep you posted. There's also a good amount of quality of life being worked on as well, and I think the majority of this will come in for the update next week. We've got they are preventing the SAM sites at launch site from shooting down MLRS rockets, so that's cool. The Ioka is going to be more likely to shoot after every failed strike, so that's a little buff for the Ioka, which is nice. They fixed some artifacts in the full reticle crosshair texture, and ladder hatches no longer require ladders to repair. And a cool one for all you growers out there, they increase the plant ripe stage duration from 4 hours to 14 hours. So you get an extra 10 hours to pick your ripe goods before they go. Also, there's going to be a warning pop up if you're trying to log out in a safe zone. And embrasures and shutters will be rotatable with R when being deployed, which is a nice little quality of life thing. And then on top of that, they're working on a bunch of other miscellaneous projects and stuff. It looks like a new truck is coming in. I think this will be a player drivable truck, maybe like a scrap heli for the ground, so to speak. It's the M939 American truck, which is a military 3-axle, 6-wheel kind of truck for carrying troops. So work on that is still kind of in its infancy. So I don't expect anything for February with that. Maybe in March we'll see that truck come in, and potentially it's just going to be a like prop for a round and won't be drivable. I'm not sure. Nothing's confirmed with that yet, but I feel like it will be a player drivable high-end vehicle. They're also doing some updates to the deployable mining quarries. That's not for vanilla gameplay. They're not bringing that back, I don't think, for vanilla gameplay, but it is for modding purposes. They're just doing some tweaks with that. They've been playing with the industrial system and really trying to do some improvements and fixes. There is an issue where the industrial system is causing servers to lag out. So if you've been on a server in the past month that just stalls out and the server needs to restart, chances are that's the industrial system. Thankfully, we did have crashes for like a long time before this, where it was like PhysX and stuff like that causing server crashes. Thankfully, all of those crashes have been resolved. But then it seems like right around when those crashes were resolved, the a new problem with the industrial system causing crashes came in. So getting a crash-free Rust server is hard work these days, but hopefully it's easier and better after the update next week because they've made some improvements and made the industrial system more reliable. They're also doing work on a dragon launcher for the Chinese New Year. Not sure exactly what this is, but probably just a special item to celebrate Chinese New Year. Probably will be on the item store for purchase, and I don't think it's going to be used for like raiding bases or anything. I think it's going to launch fireworks or something like that. Maybe it'll launch just dragons. I don't know. We'll see. Also, they're working on an improved skin viewer, which will be cool. They did a fix for the spray can, not to make sure it doesn't reassign the owner ID of entities when reskinning to a deployed skin. They did more work on Tutorial Island, which will be for new players coming in the game to get their feet wet. It's going to be its own special type of server. Not many established players, I think, will ever even touch that, but it will be cool for, you know, people getting their sea legs in Rust if they're new to the game. Also, they're doing more work on improving the vendor UI in in-game maps. I think that may make it in for next week, so we'll have to keep you posted on that one. And they're capping the burst module size to match other weapon mods. And they're also doing some work on a nightlight. So we might have some more accessibility with regards to lights around our bases at night in the near future with the addition of a nightlight. So we'll keep you posted on that. But that is about what's going on in Rust development. A couple things. Just again, for Rustafied, we are working on our stats system. Work on that is well underway. We're going to have stats and leaderboards. It's going to be a custom system that is not like anything ideally that you've seen before and really provides value and some interesting information for when you're playing on our servers and when you're playing in a clan on our servers. So we'll keep you posted on that. That's still a couple months away before it's going to be ready for, you know, initial alpha testing, but we are actively developing it now and I'm really excited about it. So I thought I'd share that with you. Also, real quick to touch on the hacker situation, because I know people ask about that generally every week and they say, hey, what's going on with the hacker situation? Are there any updates to, you know, improve the hacker situation? And the answer, long and short, is yes, there are updates for the hacker situation. EAC and FacePunch are working together, and there's some progress being done in that arena. That is all I will say about it, because this is, of course, this game of cat and mouse where if you give information out about specifically what they're doing to combat hackers, then the hackers just use that information to circumvent it. So FacePunch and EAC are working on that. And I will also say that at Rustafied and on Rustafied servers, we have implemented a third-party anti-cheat solution, and we have our own in-house anti-cheat solution that kind of piggybacks off of that. And what we're working on, basically, I got sick of waiting for EAC, you know, to, I don't know, do their fucking job. So we've taken matters into our own hands a bit. This has been over the past months and months, over the past year, in fact, we've been working on rolling this out and tweaking it and improving it. And I am very happy with where it's at. We're able to detect a lot of hackers even before players recognize that they're hacking in the server. And we're making a lot of improvements with that too. So my goal with the Rustified servers is that regardless of what EAC is doing, we at least have the best, you know, detection of hackers that you can have in Rust. And I'm excited about the further, you know, improvements we're going to make with that. But once again, just like the EAC stuff, we don't go into specifics because cat and mouse game. But it's all to say we are really working to get that hacker situation under control the best we can. My recommendation to you, if you are playing in a Rustified server and you see a suspicious player, please go to my.rustified.com, log in with Steam. That is our new reporting ticketing website. And on there, you can very easily put in a report. Just click on the player or players that you want to report, attach your evidence and notes and everything like that. And that is the quite frankly, the best possible thing you as a player can do to help us out with that situation in the servers. So once again, that's just our new report website, my.rustified.com. You can also do /report in Discord and in chat in game, but the interface and everything for the website is just generally speaking a lot easier and more user friendly. So I would recommend using that. But yeah, that's about what we got going on. Once again, the update's coming out next week, and it's going to be backpacks, maybe metal detectors, and some quality of life stuff. And with that, Miss D, we got any more questions before we
Yeah,
wind this puppy down?
we have a few more. Is there a debuff to wearing a backpack?
It doesn't look like there's any downsides at the moment to wearing a backpack. Uh, some of the logical ones would be slow down movement speed or increase hitbox. At the moment, it's not slowing down movement speed, and in fact, I believe Facepunch said they weren't planning on slowing down movement speed. And furthermore, the hitbox doesn't seem like it's increasing the hitbox. So if anything, at the moment, if it just kind of makes your player model look bigger, if that's a like downside, but quite frankly, there aren't really many downsides at the moment to the whole backpack thing.
Can you, as a server owner, change the loot table for the metal detector?
Potentially, with mods, you can do custom loot tables. And previously, each loot table, there's like subcategories of loot tables for like, wood boxes and the different type of loot around the map. And I imagine with this is a just new type of loot. I imagine it would be able to be modified through modding techniques and through just changing loot tables like you previously would have in the game. That said, at Rustified, we run vanilla servers on the official list, so we're not going to be modifying the loot table at all. But I do believe server owners with mods should be able to.
Can you use the metal detector underwater? That's a good question too.
It is, yeah, we can test that.
Yeah, we'll test it real quick.
I think we should just follow Artemis and see what she's doing because there's no more questions right now.
Cool. And once again, if you have any questions as we wind down here, feel free to ask them with tagging Misty underscore, that's me, in chat. And yeah.
Well, you can hold it on. That's a good start.
And I imagine as an initial implementation, underwater metal detection is probably not going to be a thing they're planning on.
What if you just dump like metal frags on the ground, like just like pull them out of your inventory so they lay on ground? Maybe that's gonna help. I'm
Yeah,
kind of
it doesn't.
Yeah, basically how the code of this is working, my sense of it is that it's tuned, the metal detector that is tuned only to detect not like all metal in game, but instead there's a new type of hidden loot under the
Yeah.
ground, and it's just programmed to detect that loot specifically now. Now, will that change? Will it be able to detect, say, hidden stashes? We don't know. Maybe we'll keep you posted and give you some more info next week when the update is about to come out, because that's when the information is a bit more solidified. But as it stands, it's literally just detecting that new type of hidden loot under the ground. Once you follow the beeps and the LED bars and everything, you get like this brief build guide for a stick and a flag out of the ground, and then that stick and flag actually like turn into a stick and flag, and then you take the shovel, you whack at that stick and flag, and whatever you found pops out of the ground after like 3 whacks. And once again, generally we're just finding cans of beans and a metal frag or four, as you would expect, but we did in fact find an AK, which I still can't believe. That's great.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you'll be able to find an AK with this next week, but as of today, there's some AKs hiding under the ground, and this thing can find them.
Yeah, that was interesting.
But yeah, this is all active. We're just on the normal staging branch right now. Once again, the metal detectors just came in like 6, 7, 8 hours ago, so it's like literally the first iteration of this functionality on staging. So highly, highly subject to change. Also on staging, we do have the two backpacks with all the changes this week. As always, all this stuff is summarized on rustafied.com in text and images. I do an article every week. It goes live first thing Thursday Eastern Time, midnight, and just covers everything going on in Rust development for the week. My article next week will go more in depth into the specifics about these new backpacks, where to get them, how to craft them, and the different loot tables, ideally, of the metal detector, if that is indeed making it in, and all the crafting costs associated with that. So definitely check out my update article next week. Once again, first thing Thursday Eastern Time at midnight. It'll go live every week and give you all the information you might need to know. But yeah, as it stands now, it looks like it's going to be a backpack update with some quality of life and maybe even some metal detection.
I see. Shaker was actually just asking if it's just specific spots you find items with the metal detector, and I think it's just like random all over the map, right?
Yeah, it seems like all over the map. Another thing that just came to mind is in the commits, they did say they turned up the loot for testing purposes. So the loot values and things we're seeing now probably won't be the case necessarily. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to find an AK with a metal detector.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just like as as much as a piece of me is like, ooh, AK. I just can't.
I'd like
I
to think
can't.
it was like 1 in a billion and we just got it.
Yeah, maybe we just won the new Rust
One
lottery
per
here or
wipe,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Anywho,
that's yeah.
I think with that, we'll wind down. To the person saying, you should fix your server instead of yapping every week, thank you for the nice feedback that you have there. We did have some issues in our EU servers in the EU region during wipe time. They have been resolved. They were not specific to our organization or even our host. They were broader issues in the EU region, impacting connectivity for many, many different organizations, including ours. It was resolved within about an hour, and as of now, it is resolved. If you have any other issues on our servers, if you have someone who you think is suspicious, once again, go to my.rustified.com and report them. We have an active admin team that reviews those tickets pretty much around the clock. Also, if you have any other issues and you need support with our organization or our servers, feel free to go to rustified.com/support, and you can always put a ticket in there, and we're happy to support you. But yeah, once again, huge thank you to everyone for tuning in. We are just an independent organization. We're not the devs of the game. We're not on the Facepunch payroll. We just are fans of the game like you who love reporting on development news and run the best servers that we possibly can. And once again, we can only do that through the support of the community. So to everyone who tunes in and watches, to people who give bits and subscribe on Twitch, and to our wonderful, beautiful, loyal VIP customers, thank you all so much for the support. We literally wouldn't be able to do this without you. We will be back next week, same time, same place, to give you a full rundown of what's going on in the update. Once again, the update is expected out 1 week from today at pretty much this exact time. So 2 p.m. Eastern next Thursday, February 1st, or 7 p.m. GMT is when the update will be out. We'll go live. We'll give you the rundown of everything you need to know as a player about what's coming in the update and let you know when the update goes live. And as always, Misty, Artemis, thank you guys so much for being my co-MCs.
You're welcome as always.
Yep, you're welcome.
And with that, we're going to wind this puppy down. I hope you all have a wonderful week and a wonderful wipe. This is Bugs, signing off.